Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. Before we get started, we have a couple of quick acknowledgments I'd like to make. A few members of the legislature are here: Assemblymember Jose Rivera, Assemblywoman Neely Rosick, Assemblymember Al Tyler. We also have Jill Ferrillo, the Executive Director of the New York State Nurses Association, Arthur Chiliotis, President, CWA Local 1180, members of the New York State Council on Women and Girls Steering Committee, members of the Governor's Administration, and our host, the New York Historical Society. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for joining us today as we unveil Governor Cuomo's ambitious 2018 Women's Agenda, a series of proposals to advance women's equality and opportunity across New York State. 2017 will go down in history as the year when women spoke up and we drew the line in the sand. It started the day after President Trump's inauguration. We took to the streets in the cities and towns across the world, and we made it clear that women would not tolerate a repeal of our rights or a return to the past. And all year, women kept speaking up, louder and louder. We spoke up in support of healthcare, against anti-family immigration policies, in support of public education and protecting our environment, and against the horror show in Charlottesville. And over, with a frequency that shook the nation, women spoke up about sexual harassment, misogyny, and sexism, about its pervasiveness, about the cultural sense of entitlement that encouraged it, and about the morally empty power structure that has been too timid to confront it. And whenever we had the chance, in Virginia and New Jersey, from Westchester to Nassau, and most loudly in Alabama, women spoke up at the polls, and we made the difference. Yes, 2017 was the year when women spoke up, but 2018 needs to be the year when society responds. And as we have so many times before, New York State will lead the way. In Governor Cuomo, a man I'm proud to call my friend, mentor, and boss, New York has a leader who consistently champions and furthers the interests of women, and not just with words, but with action. Governor Cuomo led the nation in the fight to combat sexual assault on college campuses with the Enough is Enough initiative. He issued regulations to ensure that contraception and medically necessary abortions will be covered by insurance without copay or deductibles. He led and won the fight to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Yes, that deserves applause. And to enact the most comprehensive paid family leave policy in the nation. And along with strong voices in this room, he fought to eliminate child marriage. Last year, when President Trump disbanded the White House Council on Women and Girls, Governor Cuomo acted again, creating the first ever New York State Council on Women and Girls. And our charge was simple: to advance women's rights within our state and ensure that all state policies take into account the rights of women and girls. But it was not only the council's feedback that we sought. Members of our administration traveled the state. We heard your voices, the voices of the women of New York, and your opinions, experiences, and needs. We discussed the barriers we face, confront, the concerns you worry about, and the way we in government can respond to change them. And today, 5 months after the council's inception, and after countless roundtables, conferences, one-on-one meetings with women throughout New York, and after much productive anger and energy, we are proud to release our first report on the status of women and girls in New York today and outline our 2018 Women's Agenda. What we have found, to the surprise of exactly no one in this room, is that while women have made great progress, it is far from enough, and there is still much work that needs to be done. All women continue to be susceptible to sexual harassment and sexual assault. All women are susceptible to domestic violence. All women need quality health care and not enough of it. All women who are mothers face child care issues, and most have experienced child care emergencies. Women continue to be underrepresented in positions of power and influence, resulting in a muffling of women's voices, a discounting of women's experiences, and a society-wide underappreciation for women's perspective and real concerns. It is time to respond, and not just to the component parts, but to the system itself. The agenda we're proposing is broad and sweeping because the issues we face are. With this plan, we tackle issues along the work-life spectrum, for those looking for an on-ramp, for those looking for a way up, and for those attempting to crack the glass ceiling. And we look at the issues of health, safety, family life, and economics that range from the very real changing a diaper in a public restroom to those issues facing women climbing the ladder in traditionally male-dominated industries, securing second-round financing for an idea you know is great, but is dismissed by those who control venture capital. Today's report advances a 30-item agenda for improving the lives of women and girls in these areas. As council chair, I like to think of it as a roadmap for long overdue change we know can happen, and we will fight to bring each one of them over the finish line. Today, we renew our call to codify Roe v. Wade into law, in both state law and in our Constitution. No right is more fundamental than a woman's right to make personal health decisions and control her own body. We are proposing a robust scope of health proposals. We're calling for a multi-agency effort to combat maternal depression and through aggressive screenings and referrals. To ensure that no family loses a mother in childbirth due to a preventable pregnancy-related death, we're creating a board of experts to review each and every maternal death in New York State and to rapidly recommend steps to improve care. And for those women who may decide to plan their families using in vitro fertilization, we must remove long-standing barriers. While to date, insurance companies often do not cover it as an infertility treatment, today Governor Cuomo is directing the Superintendent of Financial Services to evaluate the practice and develop the best approach to mandating its coverage. Our proposals and initiatives are wide-ranging, including our previously announced plan that takes direct aim at the culture of secrecy, dominance, and power inequality that allowed sexual harassment to thrive. As a starting place, every single allegation of sexual misconduct must be taken seriously. They must be investigated, and that investigative process should be done immediately and independently. We must pass common sense legislation that says the only sane option is to remove all guns from domestic violence perpetrators. And we must make vindictive revenge porn and sex extortion exactly what it is, criminal. Today, we add to this list of mandates to make women safer. Under current law in New York State, hospitals are required to retain rape kits for 30 days. Well, today we are going to change that. We propose legislation to extend the holding period to 5 years and mandate the victims have to be notified before evidence is destroyed. No victim should have to suffer the added pain of lacking the proof she needs to bring her case. We have her back, and we will change that law this year. We have an ambitious and unrelenting agenda targeting equity and equality in the workplace. Every one of us in this room knows women are paid less. We are all too painfully aware of the gender gap. At 89 cents on the dollar, New York State has the smallest wage gap in the nation, but it is still too high and unacceptable. The wage gap is often addressed by targeting the glass ceiling, but to truly close it, we need to shift focus to the sticky floor. So this year, we're proposing a new $175 million fund to support regional workforce investment across our state. And we will bolster support for women returning to the workforce with a new Women's Economic Empowerment Initiative to support female-headed households and provide training and job placement services to move women towards economic self-sufficiency. The next truth we all know is that the only way we will truly change the way government, businesses, and industries across the nation are run is when well-qualified women are equally represented in upper levels of management and on boards. So we are calling on the New York State Common Retirement Fund to invest billions of dollars of hard-earned pension funds only in companies with adequate female and minority representation in their management and on their boards. We must reauthorize the state's leading MWBE legislation and take it a step further. We're calling for the 30% goal we currently apply to state contracting to now also apply to contracts issued by localities and other entities. By imposing these goals on the local level, we leverage the largest pool of state funding in history to combat discrimination and to demand that women and minority-owned businesses overcome the entrenched barriers to success. And something near and dear to my heart, we're taking enormous steps to create a path to leadership. With a new executive branch fellowship we are announcing today, the Women Leads Fellows. Because if there is one thing New York State government is in desperate need of, it is young, talented female leaders to help steer the way forward. And we want girls to dream big. And we know the only way that happens is when it starts at the beginning, when they are socialized and educated to do so. So we're creating a new modern day initiative I liken to Take Your Daughter to Work Day, called If You Can See It, You Can Be It. New York State will partner with top companies to provide girls with the opportunity to shadow, be mentored by, and be in dialogue with women leaders across all fields and sectors. We are starting with the basics. We're expanding computer sciences to all elementary, middle, and high schools. We will close the gender gap here. The future jobs and careers of our girls demand it. And finally, we know our girls need to be aware and informed, so today we call on the Department of Education to create a new learning module on the crucial topics of sexual harassment, teen dating violence, and sexual health information. Knowledge is power, and it starts with early education. We will invest in our girls having the knowledge they need to succeed in life. The area we all know needs redress is the question of childcare. No issue is more gender-based or more insidious. So today, we are proposing a $25 million investment to expand vital pre-K and after-school programs. We will continue the enhanced child care tax credit for New York middle-class families, and our newly established Child Care Availability Task Force will examine access to affordable child care and statutory and regulatory changes that promote it. And I know you all agree with me here. In 2018, more than ever before, there is an urgent need to pass the Equal Rights Amendment. To stand up and add sex as a protected class, so our New York State Constitution will declare that no person shall be denied the equal protection of laws of this state because of race, color, or sex, creed, or religion. This is only a slight taste of the proposals outlined in the reports we issue today. As you can tell, 2018 is going to be a very busy year. In closing, I know how demoralizing the 2016 election was for many of us, but in many ways, it was also the empowering wake-up call we needed. It helped us to find our voice and our backbone. And for our mothers and grandmothers who came before us, and our daughters and my nieces who come after, I promise you this: we will not let this moment pass us by. We will be the change required by this moment, in policy, in practice, in the workplace, and all across society, with words and with action. If last year was a reckoning, this year is the battle, and in that fight, New York will lead the way. Thank you. It is now an honor for me to announce the great Lieutenant Governor of the state of New York, Kathy Hochul.
Well, good afternoon. Thank all of you for finding your way to this announcement and being the very first to feel that, yes, things are changing here in the state of New York, and you should be very proud of that. I want to thank Secretary DeRosa, the most influential women in state government, who leads the Governor's Commission on Women and Girls, for your incredible leadership, and all the members of this committee and also who've been participating on this since we unveiled this a short 5 months ago. Also, the members of the Governor's administration. I know his counsel, Alfonso David is here. The commissioners who are joined here, the Governor's staff and my staff, who you want to pity every once in a while when you look at my schedule. They're incredible individuals. This is incredible. I am, first of all, so in awe of the dizzying array of proposals that you just heard here today. They're comprehensive, they're bold, and what I love most is they're audacious. And that's what we do as New Yorkers. That's what we do as New Yorkers. You know, some of you may recall at the beginning of 2017, the governor asked me to spearhead the initiative to celebrate the centennial of women winning the right to vote. And I took that on as not just a look backward and an opportunity to honor the brave souls, the women who stood against the tides of their time, who were ostracized by their families, their churches, society, and who fought for 70 years since that first gathering of women in Seneca Falls and never gave up until we won that right to vote in 2017. I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, as I spoke and told their stories to thousands of people and audiences across this great state, I was always haunted by the feeling, how do we measure up to that? When we look back at what they accomplished, and then we look forward and think 100 years from now, when we celebrate the bicentennial of women winning the right to vote. I don't know that I'll be there, but it'd be a great party, I'm sure. But how do we measure up? What will our legacy be in comparison to that? And I didn't know this answer as this year unfolded. I just didn't know. But all of a sudden, by the end of 2017, as it came to a close, we had our answer. And we said, because of the women who came out of the shadows and were bold enough to say, something happened to me, and the others who said, and me too, we have changed the discourse and how we view women forever. And that, to me, is the legacy that we open 2018 with. And I'm really, really proud of that. And I want you to know, we've said once and for all, it's over. No longer should people in society or our state be subjected to degradation, discrimination, harassment, simply because of their chromosomes, because they're women. Okay, it's over. And I didn't launch this. I just am one of many voices. We heard voices even louder at the Golden Globes. How many times did you send Oprah's speech to someone you knew? Okay. My kids kept saying, Mom, we already saw this. We already saw this. But it was a point in time that people will talk about in the future. And you lived it, and you were part of this, all of you who are in this audience today. And to know that many of the actresses and actors brought activists with them, 8 individuals who were showcased to the world during that event. 4 of them were New York women, right? 4 of them were New York women. And one of them, the woman who started the Me Too movement, Tarana Burke, came to see me in Albany last week. And I put my arms around her and said, you made history. You made history. And not just because there's a Wikipedia reference to you that'll be out there forever. You made history. And I wanted her to know what that meant to people like me, who've been fighting against discrimination since my first desire to run for public office. Okay. She meant a lot to me and to other individuals. And so those are the people that we also honor here today. And what I reflect on as I hear the great proposals put forth by Secretary DeRosa and Governor Andrew Cuomo, there's 2 ways to change the world. One is through policies and changes in our laws, and you heard an array of them that we're going to talk about in more detail as the year unfolds, and we will need your support. For as much as there was applause in this room, and the sense that, of course, these are no-brainer, they should be the law, there's always opposing forces out there. Ask someone like Carolyn Maloney, who was my roommate in Congress, who continues to breathe every breath in the hope that during her lifetime we will pass the ERA. Okay. We're going to have opposition to what we believe is right. But we're also empowered and emboldened and feel that there's been a seismic societal shift that for the first time in maybe 100 years is on our side. That feels good, doesn't it? Doesn't that feel good? So we will change the laws and policies to help change the world, but also we must change culture and society. And I look out in this room, representatives from the media, thought leaders, significant organizations, elected officials, and I say, it all happens with your influence. And I want you to be part of this. I want you to be part of this effort to change culture once and for all, forever. So thank you. And I also want to make sure that we're not just focusing on the high-profile individuals who can capture the attention because of who they are. We are talking about the housekeepers in the hotel that I just left. We're talking about the migrant workers in upstate New York who are breaking their backs to put food on our tables and the harassment they endure. I'm talking about the bus drivers, the people that are out there every day, and the ones that sometimes you walk past and you don't have any clue of what they're enduring. But today their voices are amplified by all of us. We are here for them. And I will tell you today, it pains me to reveal in 2018 that it's not just gender inequality I'm referring to, it is also racial and gender equality coupled together, and the fact that African American women make 66 cents on the dollar in our society. My God, that's an injustice. We're going to change that. We're going to change that here in the state of New York, because women of color face far more than women who are not of color, and I want to change that dynamic. I also want to commend Commissioner Roberta Reardon for her incredible work that she has done. Where are you, Roberta? Oh, there you are. She and I have traveled this state as co-chairs of the Governor's Commission on Pay and Income Inequality. And we have heard these stories, and we put the spotlight on them. And we sit there and we listen, and our jaws drop at the injustice of how women, and particularly women of color, are treated and paid in society today. And we're going to continue our efforts, Roberta. Thank you very much for being an incredible partner. I also want to applaud the people that are starting to implement something Secretary DeRosa spoke about, and that is using an opportunity to grab our girls when they're young and excited and point them in the direction where I believe the jobs of the future are and the bigger paychecks are, and that is in the STEM fields. And I want to commend the people that I met, Andrea Chavez from the Young Women's Leadership School of Astoria. I went there. And there you are. I presented to you the Teacher of the Year Excellent Award that Governor Cuomo asked me to present, and I saw that you had 66 cultural backgrounds on your roll call every morning. How beautiful was that? And your young women are getting a leg up because you're exposed to technology and the jobs of the future through learning coding. And I have no clue what coding is, okay? But all I know is everybody better learn it, okay? And I hope I'm grandfathered in. I don't need to learn anything new. But this is as basic as learning to read and write for the jobs of the future. You are teaching that in your school. We're going to teach this all over the state and make sure that our young women have every possible advantage. And we're also, when these young women grow up and they want to start a new business based on the ideas they were perhaps incubated in high school, middle school, college, that we're going to be there and give them a hand. Because I've talked to so many women across the state in forums in small towns, large communities, and all I hear from them is saying, no one will invest in us. Where are the venture capitalists who will invest in the women entrepreneurs of today? Well, we're going to find them. And we're going to make sure that they understand where the future lies. And the Secretary spoke about this as well, making sure that we put a spotlight and highlight and amplify the stories of boards of directors and places where women are represented, and heaven help you if you don't have it, because the rest of the world is going to know that as well. the rest of the world will know. So those are some of the things we're going to do to help young women become financially independent, because that is what is holding so many women back. And I know this from being raised with a mother who was involved in victims of domestic violence, because so many women stay in bad environments because they do not have the financial resources to free themselves and to free their children. That's why we're going to invest in their ability to earn money to take care of themselves and their children. That's an important part of the governor's strategy. So there's the financial side, the economic side. There's also the health side and the quality of life. And whose heart didn't break when they read about the story of 31-year-old Tanisha Walker? A 31-year-old flight attendant with the world of promise ahead of her and a 2-year-old baby who dies in childbirth in 2018. What was going on there? Were there inconsistencies in treatment of women of color? I need to know what happened there. And we need to ensure, and this commission is focused on this, to reduce not just infant mortality in the state of New York, but making sure the mothers survive the experience as well. And that is another one of our priorities. So we're going to make sure that we don't forget those mothers. But also, I will tell you, as someone who finished my 9th State of the State rollout last night, the governor does one 90-minute one. I come in a little bit shorter than that. His was mostly applause lines, just so you know. It was mostly, and that's the truth. That's the truth. I spoke in Brooklyn last night, and I noticed the trend as I told this story of the governor's incredible State of the State address, from Binghamton to Auburn to, God knows, I've been all over Long Island yesterday, Manhattan, Bronx, and Brooklyn. I read the audience for the applause lines, okay? One of the most significant applause lines we received was when we talked about the governor's democracy initiative. What does that mean? It's a recognition, and this is where I tie in women as well, a recognition that there's nothing magical about people showing up on the first Tuesday of November to vote between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. There are too many women who are up at the crack of dawn to put their youngsters on a bus, travel for hours themselves on public transportation, praying they get there on time, working a full day, stopping for the groceries on the way home, stopping by the nursing home to say hi to grandma or mom or dad, and all of a sudden it's 9:30 at night on election day. Why can't we address the needs of women to have their voices fully heard on election day, so we eliminate any reason why they can't vote and have early voting? Why can't we have that here in the state of New York? So it all ties together. See this? All these initiatives that the governor's proposed all come back to the betterment of the lives of families, women, and children in the state of New York. And I'm really proud of that. I'm proud to be associated with that. And I will close by telling you, I'm wearing my favorite Christmas gift for the first time. This is a pendant with broken glass in it, shattered glass. Okay. From my 28-year-old daughter, who may never quite have to experience what her mother's generation did, but she knows the challenges I've faced. But I wear this not to say, yes, I've cracked some ceilings myself. I wear it because it's a reminder to me of the ceilings yet to be cracked. And as we go forth today, the beginning of the first year of the next 100 years, I spoke at the beginning about what our legacy will be. Our legacy for the men and women and children of the state of New York, and indeed the rest of the nation that watches us. Our legacy begins today, and we have the bold proposals launched by Governor Andrew Cuomo here in the state of New York to set the blueprint forward. Thank you very much, everyone. I almost got fired from my job of introducing the next speaker here. I am very excited to introduce one of my colleagues in the state legislature, a rising star, one of the youngest women in the state legislature in a place where there's still far too many women. I know we were all excited when in the state legislature the number of women elected went from 25 to 27%. Okay, got a little ways to go there, folks. Got a little ways to go there, but we're making progress, and all of us are continuing to support women who step up and run for office. But Assemblywoman Neely Rozak became the youngest woman in the state legislature and the first woman to ever represent the 25th district. Today, she's here as one of our incredible partners to help elevate these issues. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Assemblywoman Neely Rozak.
I'm a bit taller. Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone feeling? Gotta keep that energy going. So I'm Neely Rozak. I represent parts of Flushing, Queens, if anyone from Queens is in the house. More importantly, I'm here serving in my new capacity as new chair of the Task Force on Women's Issues in the state legislature. We have just heard the governor's ambitious agenda for the women and girls of New York. As Melissa and the Lieutenant Governor noted, this plan was developed to respond to the most pressing challenges faced by women in the areas of health, the workplace, safety, and working families. We in the legislature have heard some of the same needs over time to remove barriers, open the door to opportunity, address sexual harassment, affordable childcare, access to education, and the means to empowerment. I'd like to take a moment to again acknowledge my colleagues in the legislature, those in attendance. I saw Al Taylor and Jose Rivera, representatives from Amy Pollin's office and Arabella Simodis' office, Kim Ramos, who's representing Speaker Carl Hastie, and many others who, if I've missed you, I apologize. Those who have worked on those issues for so many years, and particularly those who served before us, whose shoulders we stand on. You'll notice that the list of attendees is shorter than usual because, like hard-working women everywhere, and you know who I'm talking about, many are at legislative hearings across the city and state, including Linda Rosenthal, whose district we are in, who's chairing a committee right downtown, and Crystal Peoples-Stokes, who chairs the Assembly and the Senate's Women's Caucus. So let's give them a round of applause. We are all eager and look forward to the partnership with Governor Cuomo in advancing this plan from a vision to a reality. And I know that all of you in this room want to join this effort. From the Women's March and the Me Too movement, we know many others want to be involved, need us to take action, and are looking to us for leadership. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's not let them down. The following panel will discuss how to do that effectively, as an organization, as an individual, or as a business. Let's all work together to make New York the model for women and girls. Thank you, and let's welcome the panel.